Good afternoon. It's Friday, the 20th of November. Welcome to High Five, staggered Wi-Fi High Five. We record this every Friday afternoon to put it out at 5 o'clock, as close to 5 o'clock as we could get, to interview somebody about the last 5 days of learning who's been nominated by another person. And I'm delighted that we have been joined by Sarah Rudder, who was nominated by Bev Holden. So when Sarah switched on her LinkedIn post last Friday, and she says, "Oh, who's this that's tagged me in a wee video?" It jumped up, and there was your good self being nominated by Bev. So Sarah, good afternoon. How are we?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Scott. Hi, Rory. I am really well, thank you. All the better for spending some time with you guys at the end of the week.
Magical, magical. So did you get a little surprise when Bev nominated you last week?
Yeah, I did. I literally like, what has Bev just implicated me in here?
Yeah, implications.
But it's been a really been a really thought-provoking week actually for me. So
good. So just before we talk about the card, we normally go to Rory, and he's normally in his like super branded palace of Red Knight world of surrounded by toys, games, and the most cognitized space ever. But he's just in his front room today. So
I'm in my home office today. Let's just call it that.
Really,
I'm in between grabbing stock and moving things around.
You must have something really creative in front of you, at least some kind of prop, or is it the kind of closest thing to a prop, a plant pot you've got in your room?
It's probably actually a candle.
Oh, yeah, see, average already. And that's exciting. Sarah, do you mind just asking a wee bit, because for those that don't know, you just tell us a wee bit about what you do, because Bev, when she was talking about you last week, I had seen a bit of your work online through Ginger Dog Development, and she talking about cogitarium as well, and it seems to be that everything you're associated with has got a really brilliant name without even starting to dig into the surface of what it's actually about that you do. So she told us a little bit about the businesses that you're involved in and the work that you do. So could you maybe just expand on that a wee bit for us just before we get into your 5 days of learning, so we know a wee bit more about you?
Okay, so Ginger Dog Development is a learning and development consultancy. All sorts of things that are involved in unleashing potential in human beings and developing people. Within that, I have a specialism in mental toughness. So I spend a lot of my time coaching and running workshops in that arena. So lots in terms of stress resilience and just really helping people get out of their own way and be whatever it needs to be good at. So that's those things. I also run a little bit called Field Trip with my good friend John Bartlett, where we create virtual virtual journeys with people from desk to discovery, and we create a theme for each of those journeys and then explore it for different angles. And the Aquarium was a piece of work that we did over the summer with Bev, John and Pete Bryceland, and we came together and used thinking environment to explore some of the themes that were really relevant to people during lockdown. So that was a lovely piece of work actually.
Sounds great. Anything that's got a word cog associated to it, I'm deeply interested in before you go into it anyway. So John's actually on one of the cognitized cards. So this little card here, Listen Without Judgment, if you scan that, John pops up in that card and told an absolutely brilliant story. I've actually shared that story on training programs with people when they're saying everything's really busy and I don't know, I try to listen to people, but we're all really busy, and quite often I just show them John's video in the moment of a really tough situation that he was having to listen without judgment, and it's a really powerful little video we did for us.
I think he's the best listener I know actually. I think John.
Now Rory hosted a Cognitized Connect session when I was on holiday during the summer, and John was a guest. Rory,
that's right. He was one of our guest speakers on the session. Our Cognitized Connect sessions, Sarah, are virtual platform sessions where we bring kind of our live events that we had before lockdown world. We've brought those online and we bring people together. And John was a great speaker on that session. Scott decided to tried to take a week's holiday at that point, which lasted for about 2 hours. But it was great. We had a great session there, and that's the benefit of the cards as well, as those guest speakers, the actual guest speakers that we've had sending us great stories that you can get access to. We just love listening to them. And also High Five on Fridays is a real highlight of each of our weeks. So I really am intrigued by the virtual field trip idea as well. It sounds wonderful, and I think it's that idea of being able to explore and use our imaginations that we all really need at this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. And John and I are both really outdoorsy, so we were kind of thinking supposed to get we create where people explore. So we always have a theme that is based on nature, then is also about human beings. So, for instance, the last one we did called the Peak. So it was Field Trip Peak, but looked at it from a number of different angles in terms of peak performance, peak strength, peak summits. So really looking at it from that angle.
Right. So we obviously had a card for you last week. So I've had this sitting on my desk all week with Boba Fett attached to it. One, because I was watching The Mandalorian last week and there was a certain character that may or may not have appeared in it. But it was attached to this little card here that Bev nominated you with, which was Look Up at the Stars. And I had a sub-story connected to what she had said as your answer to that question about sitting in your hammock and looking up at the stars was one of the best things that you'd done. So I thought that was really an interesting card, and what it inspired in Bev was a line that you had said in a conversation you'd had with us about the power of just sitting there and looking up to the sky. So I'd like you to just tell us a wee bit about that card and what it's inspired in you and what you've done with it over the course of the last 5 days, really, and anything you could fill us in would be magical. I'll put Boba down there.
Okay, so yeah, Bev. It was lovely actually that Bev remembered me talking about that, because that was way back in the early days of the last lockdown. And yeah, and I have a beautiful hammock in the garden that I often think about what's going on in the world. And it was really interesting for her to pick that for me, because it kind of made me feel that feels like such a long time ago. And also to think about that now when we're kind of in the midst of autumn, you know, it's Friday afternoon and we're recording this and it's almost pitch black outside my window and the hammock has been taken down for the winter. And it's been really cloudy this week. So I really struggled at the beginning of the week with the whole look up at the stars, because I was like, there just aren't any stars. And then I think that actually feels like quite a good metaphor for perhaps how people are feeling right now, that it feels quite dark, not just physically, but also second lockdown. We're all being a little concerned about what is going to, you know, what Christmas might look like for us. And I think, I just think sometimes it's difficult, isn't it, to even just to believe that the stars are there. And I'm not a big fan of, you know, those kind of platitudes and you can put on your necessarily about, you know, you can't see them but believe they're there. I think there's something here for me around what do we do when it is dark, and how do we find our own light. And so it's really interesting that Rory picked as his creative thing in front of him. And actually, as so often happens this week, because I was thinking about this week as well. So the Festival of Light has been happening. And of course, people haven't been able to get together or celebrate in the way that they normally do. But there's just definitely been this theme throughout the week. I had a conversation with a colleague about something where we get all of the 120 people who are going to be on this when we talk about rekindling our conversations. So there's just been this you know, theme that's run through the week of light. I think that's really connected to the card that they've picked for me. And I guess the important thinking I've been doing about that is about how do we navigate this. You know, if you think about the sort of tradition of navigating by the stars, or the symbolism of stars guiding our way, how do we navigate? How do we create our own light right now? Or how do we How do we remember to be the light for somebody else, for instance? So I was thinking about my friends and thinking about the people who've been the lights, the beacons throughout this year. Beacons next year, I think, and I hope that I'm a beacon for them as well, some along the way. So that's been my thinking, learning from the week, I think.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
And to think I flippantly threw that away as an IKEA candle holder. I think it's got so much brilliant narrative in it now. I'm thinking about it more expansively.
See, I had it all thought out, you see.
You got it all planned. You know, there's so many things in there that I'm consciously aware of our own experiences of the last 9 months of what we've been doing, and the beacons and the people that have shone. And I can remember having a conscious thought back at the end of March saying, I don't know if I'm made for such an upheaval of change all in one go and how I'm going to do that. And I think looking at other people who were brilliant at actually deploying their strengths into areas of stress. And I know we were chatting before we come on the call today about a mutual contact and friend of ours, Kirsty Mack. But she was excellent at actually tuning into the moment and actually really amplifying the stories that needed to be amplified through our brilliant conversations with Jim McNeish on their podcast that they recorded as well. That helped me really to shine a lot brighter, because at that point in time, at the end of March, everything was spinning too fast for me to actually really navigate effectively. And I think having brilliant people around you that help you to shine that light is a brilliant metaphor to help others to navigate in that space. It does make a difference. So at this point in the conversation, we normally shuffle a card, and we pick a card, or we invite you to pick a card and to nominate somebody else. And Rory's the master shuffler, given he works in the gaming sector and in toys and education. But given he's only surrounded by IKEA accessories today, I don't know whether he's able to shuffle
IKEA candles today. Or Scott, I'm going to let you hold the middle this week.
Okay. So I'm going to see if I can get to when Sarah reveals the card that she's going to choose. So Sarah, you were given a set of the digital cards rather than physical cards to select from as well. So I'm going to have to find it in my deck here rather than show it on screen. What card did you go for? And could you let us know who you've nominated with that card, please?
So the card I've chosen is Can I Kick It?
Ooh, my favorite card.
Is it?
Yeah, I love that one. So normally when I'm in the normal office, or when we're in the cognitized space, that's one of the cards up behind me. And it actually ties in with a lot of stories Scott has always told me in the past about work that he does and some coaching work that he's done. And a hero of Scott's is Kenny Dalglish, who we believe those legs are designed on, Scott.
Yeah, it's a Liverpool away strip from 1978.
So all of the iconography on each of the cards always has a deeper symbolism than just the art that you see on them. But I just love that card. I love that it's the meaning behind it and how you can use it to challenge yourself. So I'm really interested to hear, Sarah, who you're going to nominate.
So the person I nominate is a beautiful, badass lady called Beth Arden.
Okay.
Brilliant. Okay. So what would we know? No, I don't. No. The fact you've called her a badass lady.
Yeah. That just sets up
straight in there. I want to meet her. She sounds awesome. So you're going to give her. Why did you choose Can I Kick It for her in particular? I might ask you. What was your reason?
Because just because she kicks ass. You know, she's just awesome. I think that'll give her loads of things to think about this week.
Love it. It's fabulous. Okay, well, we're going to reach out to her and we'll tag her on this post, and I look forward to you connecting us together as well, so we can have that conversation with her this time next Friday. Hopefully we'll be able to catch up with her before then as well. Sarah, it's been lovely to have you. Thank you for joining us for our high five this Friday afternoon. We always finish with our last final high five. So happy Friday, happy weekends, everyone. High five.
Thanks, guys.
See you soon.
Thanks, Sarah.